He knows a lot of instruments. He kept probably the person who kept more precious instruments in his hands than beside all the famous violin dealers who deal these instruments. Yeah. Hello, back again. This is Edgar from Cremona, Italy. Today we moved the furniture just because we have a special guest here. And who is this great man next to me? Stay tuned and I will tell you very soon. Let's go a little bit back. Where are you born?
I was born in Cremona,
Okay.
but I live in a village at 10 kilometers from Cremona.
What's the name of the village?
It's a Grontardo.
By the way, I live in Bessichello.
Yes.
Once you're in Bessichello, you just keep on going.
Okay.
And the next town is Levata.
Yes, you can make a mistake because there is one way and there is no
Nothing else. There's no other side. But let's go back to our book.
Okay.
Who is this man here and why is he so important? Because this is actually the main reason that I brought you. We are talking about these books, by the way. All these books we have here around and maybe even some more. Most of the violin reference books have been created because of Claudio Mazzolari. Claudio Mazzolari, when I came to Cremona, was just a photographer, made nice pictures. What did you photograph? Everything, ceremonies, yes.
Not ceremony, but in the museum. I was specialized in the museum and in the school. I prepare video and something for the school to explain the free tour if you want to choose you want a school or another.
And then arrived 1986. Seven, no? 1987, let's see. It's one of my first books I ever bought. This was the book about the 250th anniversary of the death of Antonio Stradivari. And this was 1987, a very important exhibition here in Cremona. And Claudio was asked to make this catalog. And next to this catalog, then the next book was...
In the same time, I started with Eric Blow, with the book about Emilia-Romagna, I remember.
Okay.
And we travel in old Italy to take the photo. It was the first book about the 19th century.
And then out of that book, you made 4 books or 5 or how many?
Yes, it's a 3-4 book of... and then in the same time, I work with Cornero, this is Salabue, and we made, the first was Fagnola. Fagnola probably is 20, also 5 years ago. I remember that I learned from Bruce Carlson how to make the photo, the problem of the reflection. So the violin, you have to clarify exactly what is the shape. You don't have to move and all this. You then eliminate, cancel the distortion. To take the photo in a way that the maker can reply easily using the correct shape.
What camera did you use at that time?
At that time was the old camera. The film was very big, 10, 12 centimeter or more, and was the camera that as in 80s, because the photograph don't change from they started in the middle of 18th century up to the digital camera. So it was the same.
And the first digital camera, when did you use it?
I started 20 years ago. The first, I don't remember when.
2004. I remember you. There was already digital camera, and you did not use it.
I continued for some year, and then it was impossible because also now we can use the film, but it's very long. You have to wait 1 week, for example, and obviously it's much more easy to retouch. But in any case, also if you use the film, then you have to scan.
Okay.
So you are in the same area, in the digital area.
And the camera you're using, what is it?
Now I have 2 cameras. One is a large format, come from Sony. The brand is Fuji, but Sony produced the frame from all the camera in the world. I have a full frame camera and then another that is the double.
Okay.
In the professional, you have Hasselblad, is the most famous, and 2, 3 other. Less is the macro because it's typical. So when you wanted to clarify the detail, macro is the best. It's not nice for the face because you result all the perfection, but in the violin you need
You want all the details, of course. Yeah. For a long time, you were the only one, or at least as how I was feeling it. There were all the great violin makers and violin shops and dealers around the world who had their camera, took their pictures. But when they wanted to make a book, they always went to you.
At the first, there is not so many persons that understand. So, for example, when I went in USA for take the photo of the Dimitri Gindin book, the person that now is working in USA come with me for 1 month, and so he learned how to. Before he worked in a running workshop, and now he's the person that work in USA. So at that time, I have to go in USA, in Japan, or in China. I went in China to teach one person, for example, because it's very tiring to travel. So especially with the flight, no, because the problem is you don't travel with a camera, you travel with 30, 40 kilos.
For a long time, actually, I thought that just taking a picture is the camera who takes the picture. And then at a certain point, I read an article about a photographer who went to some Civil War area. And on the way to the country where he wanted to travel, he lost all his 20, 30 kilos. And so then actually was only with a small iPhone there, and took the pictures with the iPhone, and then you could see these pictures from the iPhone, and then in that moment I realized, damn, it's not the camera, it's the person. So this was also at that time that I realized that Claudio, how he takes pictures of a violin, if I look at the pictures, I immediately can tell, this is a picture taken by Claudio.
Now, what is incredible is the iPhone is incredible because when I took the photo, sometimes I took a detail with the phone, and the color is better in the phone than after. And also the iPhone, think that a lot of professional movie are made with the phone. So digital area change all. What I like, for example, is that I have is not only the picture, because I am not only the photographer, but I have a company that produce book. So my company is Edizioni Novecento, and so the work is also produce a nice cover, for example, or the layout inside.
This is, from my point of view, one of the books at that time. It was already 20 years ago, maybe, or I don't know what, but it was one of the first books which had a great cover. And this is definitely the layout of Claudio, okay? That he made this kind of things. I always liked it very much. Yeah, this is typical.
And also the idea is important. For example, I am curious, and you explained several times, for example, that you need a book not heavy, because when it's too big, it's broken, and because the person used the book on the bench. So you need very light and not so heavy, or it's very difficult to use. So what is important is have an idea. So my idea for the Guarneri is to produce a book, probably 2 books. You have 123 instruments.
That was from now.
The layout is the same as this. So this is the idea, and you start with the idea.
This is his fingerprint. You open the book and you see something like this, and then you have all these labels, for instance.
Or what I like is think about the layout, have an idea, change the idea slowly. Is when as a maker change shape and change from Stradivari to Guarneri. So.
Or you also put it all the scrolls.
Okay, the repetition. Yeah, the repetition is another obsession.
It's interesting because Claudio is a photographer, actually, but he is so much inside the violin making of Cremona and knows all the people worldwide who are making the books, who are doing research, who do the translation, who know more about it. And he knows these people. They're all people who he's working together. He's a lot in the printing as well, and is directing the printing of the book. And the materials, how it is made, the slip case, and how it is glued, and all these things. And tiny details like this make a nice, great book. And this is actually outstanding. So when I give him, let's say, my violin and he makes the pictures, usually then he brings me back the violin and he makes always a comment regarding that instrument he got. So while he's taking pictures, he looks at the instrument and tells me what he's thinking about it. Even without asking, a small comment comes always, and it's always, for me at least as a violin making, interesting, his comments regarding that instrument. So recently we took the pictures of my precious osmium violin, and we want to make a decent, high quality book, flyer, whatever, that I can give to specific people who are considering to purchase it. So he took that instrument. I was already very anxious. What is he going to tell me about that violin? So if you look it without some light, it's just, oh, a decorated instrument. And he's first thing, wow, this material is fantastic. It's fascinating. It's so sparkling or whatever, and very nice. These details, I'm looking always on his comments regarding that, yeah, because he knows a lot of instruments. He kept probably the person who kept more precious instruments in his hands than beside all the famous violin dealers who deal these instruments, yeah. It's not so easy to find a person like Claudio, yeah. In generally, when you look back to your career, how did you live this whole story?
The story is that now I became also publisher. So first is only photo. So sometime I produce, for example, book for other company, as with a Cornero, for example, for a Salabue, or I produce for me, or I take only the photo. So it's a mix, it's not clear. And also I mix the photo of the violin with the photo of the museum. I produce a lot of book about the building, but about the house, the Middle Age house in Cremona, the Liberty house in Cremona.
You were also called by David Fulton to make...
Yes, I went in the USA several times, and one was for the Fulton collection in Seattle. I think it was in Seattle.
And when was that?
I think 20 years ago, and I took all the photos of the Fulton collection.
And for how long did you make all the pictures for the Fulton? 1 week?
No, more, I think, more. 2 weeks probably, or 20 days. It was a longer collection. Every violin would take photo on the front and the back of detail, and so it's a longer work. In a film, at that time, it was not a digital, but it was a film. We use the film. You have to develop, so you go to the shop, you develop, you come back, you look, so it was longer.
So from the very beginning you were always attracted by the violin?
No,
as an object?
No, because living in Cremona, obviously I had a lot of friends that was a violin maker, and we have the same obsession by the detail, by the future. So we have the same feeling. And violin is very nice, and also cello. I like a lot of the cello, the shape of the cello, and there is a lot of power inside the violin. So some of the detail are repeated in the history. They start from probably before the Greece. So it's very strong also because the shape was used in the old time and tender picture. You have the scroll in all the... In Cremona, we have under in the church and before.
Corners of the building,
yes,
furniture.
Is an obsession, no? Because it's a kind of...
snail.
Yes, a kind of snail.
So you made high school?
Yes, I finished the school. I work for the government for make a movie. At the time was also slide or movie. So my idea is not is a kind of photo technical. I like, because I have a school as an engineer, no? So my idea was more technical. So for me, it's perfect to take a photo of something that is not living.
Yes.
Even I take a lot of photo when I travel, for example, but not.
You're not Richard Avedon who makes pictures from people.
Yes, people, but not at the wedding, for example. Or wedding. No, I took the photo.
You hate that.
Yes, I have a lot of most of the person know me because, for example, in the time, probably is 30 years ago, I took the photo of, I remember in one Mondo Musica, when there was in a cherry.
Yes.
I took the photo of all the person that enter, and we produce a wall with all the photo of the person that enter. Because in that time, all the person that go in a Mondo Musica was interested. It was not as now that is a huge quantity of person.
We together, when I had the workshop with Grisales together, we made that you took with, you gave us cameras, and we took a lot of pictures of all the people who entered the workshop.
Okay,
then you developed them, and then we put them on our...
Yes, the same idea is to produce a wall with all the person.
Claudio also took the picture when me and Giorgio Grisales, completely nude, sat down with instruments. Actually, the idea was from my father, because my father said, you know, Edgar, in Cremona there are so many violin makers, so that when you open up your workshop and they don't know you, it's a waste of energy, because at the time there were like 30 violin makers, 30-something, 36 violin makers. And so then he said, to make yourself famous in Cremona, you have to run across the main square nude. Yeah? That was my father's idea. From that idea, then, I had always this in my mind, and you know, the worst thing is that you don't put into reality what you're thinking, what you could do, and then you don't make it. This is awful. So every time I have an idea, I just have to put it into reality, just not to regret that I didn't do it. So at a certain point, I said, okay, we have to do that. Giorgio Grisales and me were the first ones who opened the shop with a showcase in front in Via Sicardo. So I said, we have to make advertising for the, I don't know what magazine it was, Archi magazine or something, or I don't know. And then we went to Claudio in his studio, and the idea was to make a picture nude, just with the violin in front. Something which, who knows me, I did it much later on during a Mondo Musica, because Grisales at the time didn't want to do it. So we had to figure out some ways, and at the very end it was like two babies sitting on the floor with violins around, and we called it Liuteria, Violin Making New Generation.
Yes, it was an idea.
It was a compromise of my initial idea. So then, since these pictures were made and used already at that time, everybody was talking about it. But I just thought, damn, Edgar, you didn't put into reality what you actually want to do. So when I then 10 years later moved away from that workshop, and Grisales is still working there in Via Sicardo, I came here to Via Mauro Macchi, an address where nobody knew actually where it is. I said, okay, now it's time to make that. 2006, I made this picture that I completely nude with a violin in front. Yeah, that was everybody was talking about, because you know, you cannot do this.
It's an idea of a lot of energy, and is exactly was the idea of a new generation, because it what's happened, because your generation is exactly after the generation of Bissolotti and Morassi. This, I remember when I went to Japan for take photo, I met you and Grisales, that were the leader, and behind you there is a lot of...
We're talking how many years ago?
No, Marco, there is Tonarelli, Trabucchi, and
Nolli.
Nolli, but especially Trabucchi, Tonarelli, and what is there? There is another, no? There is a friend of Tonarelli, Comendulli.
This again, Claudio, who made this. And here we had Contrabassi Cremonesi.
Yes, it's Contrabassi.
And Marco Nolli, Giorgio Grisales, Edgar Russ, Daniele Tonarelli, Stefano Trabucchi. Comendulli was working with Daniele Tonarelli at that time. But it was...
This is a normal idea, but the idea to travel in the world, in all the not the competition, the market, was an idea your and Grisales. So you grab all the other young person. You and Grisales were the two energy, and all the other was drag. After the old generation, because it's an incredible difference between Morassi and Bissolotti and you, Grisales, and all the other this kind of generation that is exactly behind. This is the reason that now it's also difficult for the new maker became famous, because this kind of generation is strong.
Yeah,
I remember this. have a clear idea. Because, for example, Bissolotti and Morassi never go to the exposition in the world, in Shanghai, in the...
Yeah, they were just home and
Yes, they are okay. I am an Italian famous maker. The person have to give
come.
You move all of the Italian. You move and try to understand what they want. You go directly to in the center of the business. I remember when you went to Asia and then you come back and then you go to USA with a huge jet lag. I saw all this changement in Cremona. I see all the changement that they make. So it's interesting because especially the generation. So what is the generation of Morassi and Bissolotti and the generation that is behind. After, that is your. And then what happened now, there is everything is confused. There is a confusion because is not clear, and there is not a clear new generation that is the person that have 40, 35. So even generation, they have 20 years of difference is a generation. 20 years.
Okay.
Probably 20 years. So we have to think 20, 25 years is a generation. As you was a father, no, is the difference between a father and the children. I think you are the generation after Bissolotti. There is not a generation between you and Bissolotti, in my opinion.
Wow. I never thought about it, but it's okay. When I came to Cremona in the 80s and then I met Bissolotti, and now I hear that I am the next generation after Bissolotti. At that time, I had like the idea that I will never reach this fame, this level, or that I would be even considered the next generation after Bissolotti. This is tough, huh?
That's bad. You call your advertising the new generation, no?
Yes.
So the new generation is comparing
True, yes.
For us, and it was clear, the idea.
There were some unsaid rules, which up to that point where Giorgio Grisales and me opened a workshop, everybody had to do like this and had to follow what Morassi and Bissolotti, without saying, but somehow it was in the air, had to respect. And Grisales and me, we were the first ones who took off all these unnecessary belts.
Yes, naked, go work, in the world with a lot of energy. So it was a new idea, and then all the other person made the same. So when you open a way, then the other can walk in this way that you open. So go in the world and have an idea. You think that go in Asia for an exposition, then come back and go in USA. So this is an idea that you cover all the world, so you know what they want.
For how long are you going to work? You never go in retirement? You don't retire?
No, but as the maker, you work as you want.
Okay.
You
too? You don't retire?
No, but because...
Neither.
When you retire, you just have... you go to the bank and you think, why I have money without work? As a result, I have some money, but you have done nothing.
So at the time you were working on the Guarneri book with...
yes, this is my main work, because I like also, but I have a lot of other work.
Subscription for that book is still possible?
Yes, it's still open, and now the book is the double and the price is the same. So
because in the beginning it was like 67.
Yes, now it's the double. So from one book now is 2 books like this. 2 books like this, the price is the same. So
really?
Yes, it's a promo of Florian.
Okay. So if you want to get the book, you have to speed up and make the pre-subscription. Okay. You also sell your books, the ones you made?
Some of them I book. When is Edizioni Novecento,
okay.
My company, I can sell Garimberti, Ornati, this kind of book.
Okay, so we will leave underneath the description all the books you have on sale.
Okay.
They can write me, and then I say, Claudio, we have to sip this and this, and that can do that. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Claudio. He is a key person in Cremonese violin making, and not only Cremonese violin making. in the violin making world, from Tokyo to America. A very important person, and I'm happy that he was today here with us, and I hope you enjoyed it. Keep in touch, and you have definitely to subscribe to this channel. Ciao ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao ciao.
Ma sì, ma lascia tanto, guarda, alla fine la gente che ne frega un cazzo, cioè...
Mettiamo un po'. Crap.
For me, io mi piace.
Ok.